Very exciting.
Beautiful. So I'll give you the floor and feel free to start.
Okay, so do I have to admit people? Yeah, now I'm host.
No,
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take care of that.
Oh, can you take care of that for me?
Yeah, I can.
That's fantastic. So, okay, so is the screen good? Oops.
Yep.
Okay, so hello everybody. I am so excited that Aisha invited me to speak with you this morning, because I love working with teachers. That is my job. So let me just tell you a little bit, first of all, about myself. I was just saying to Aisha that my very first teaching job, English job, was in the American Language Center in Marrakesh many years ago. And from there, I then transferred and I worked at the American Language Center in Casablanca. And then I decided, oh, this is so interesting. I want to go on and get more qualifications. And so then I went back to England and, you know, I got a teacher training qualification, started to work more seriously as an English teacher and also administrator. And then finally I thought, oh no, I need a master's now. And so I went back to England again and got my master's. So that my career started here in Morocco. And so Morocco is very, very dear to my heart. Then finally, I started to work as a freelancer. And by that stage, I'd kind of progressed, if you like, to being a teacher trainer. And I worked a lot in the Middle East because my background in Morocco, people said, oh, you've worked in Morocco. So now I got jobs in the Yemen, I got jobs in Oman, Libya, and these jobs were eventually freelance, which means I work for myself and I go and I work for different companies for a month or 2 months or whatever the contract. So I am a teacher trainer. This is my speciality. I don't work in a university. I'm very practical. Okay, I have the theory, but my experience is very practical. I go into classrooms, I observe teachers, I mentor teachers, and I train teachers according to their needs. And so I work a lot on educational reform programs in many countries. Okay, but not now, obviously, because we have COVID. So here I am in Marrakesh, working as much as possible with this new technology, with people here and all over the world. Okay, so I would just want to make it clear that my background is really hands-on. Okay, and this is what I love doing. So today our training is about lesson planning. And I just want to point out before we start that lesson plans always have their own format. There is no one lesson plan template, no lesson plan format. Every school or every context will probably ask for a different thing. So when you get a job in a school, they probably have a format. And so what we're going to talk about today are ideas for you to put into whatever template or format the school requires. You know, you can't go in and say, here's the way I want to do it, here's my lesson plan, because in my experience, most schools will already have designed their formal requirement. So the ideas are for you today to put inside of whatever lesson plan format your school asks for. Okay, is that clear? So let's do some outcomes, prepare you a little bit for what's going to happen this morning. The first, we have got lots of different activities for you, okay? And I hope it's going to be nice and varied. So first activity will be a brainstorm, okay, about lesson planning. Oh, just a minute, are you recording this, Aisha? Aisha, have you got the recorder? Do I have to do that here?
No, you don't have to do it. It's already on. Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. Great. I always forget that one. So brainstorming, that's in the group, and you're going to think about all the words that you can associate that come to mind, just like that, when I say lesson planning. The second activity, we're going to do a little bit of reflecting on why teachers need to plan lessons. Okay? Why are we going to do this? It's time consuming. What are the benefits? Yeah, why should we do this? Then after that, we're going to do a matching activity. Okay, these relate to your to the worksheets that Aisha has sent you. Okay, so if you haven't got the worksheet or you can't see the worksheet, you can always take a picture with your phone of the screen. Okay, you have two options there. So it's a matching activity in groups. And then after we talk about that, we'll do a matching of procedures and steps of lesson plans to their definition in the groups. Okay, and then we will discuss the importance of the aims of a lesson. If we don't know our aims, how are we ever going to succeed in achieving them? It's logical. And finally, I will do a few lesson planning tips to help you, hopefully. And at the end, hopefully, we will have some time for you to ask questions. So how are we going to work together? All right, so we are going to work a lot today with breakout rooms. When you see this icon on your screen, this means that I am going to put you into small groups, okay? I think most of you have already worked with this way. You'll be in a group of 3 or 4. I will instruct you to use one of the worksheets, and you will do the task. And then we will all come back together in the main room, and we will have a feedback session where you will tell the group your conclusions. So we have 5 of those this morning. So I'm going to be asking you to do a lot of participating. Okay, it's not just me talking and talking. You are going to be doing some talking, and you're going to be talking together, and you're going to be talking to the group. So please, please, please don't be shy. Don't be worried to speak if I call you. All your answers will be valued. You don't need to worry that you're going to feel uncomfortable anyway. And so here are some guidelines for how we work in the breakout rooms. I will put you in groups of 3 or 4 for between 10 and 15 minutes. Okay, that sounds like a long time, but it's not. When you get in your groups, you will have plenty to do. And each time the group will be different, okay, not the same group. I will tell you which worksheet I want you to look at. I will show you. And please, when you're in your group, please, I know here in Morocco, we do a lot of greeting and how are you and what's your name and I hope maybe you know each other already, okay, but please just keep it short. Hi, that's it, all right? Because 15 minutes, 10 minutes is not long, all right? So you just say, hi, okay, what do we have to do? How are we going to do it? And get going with the task. When you're in your group, I'd like you to choose a speaker for the group very quickly. I don't want you to spend 5 minutes saying, oh, would you like to do it? No, I don't want to do it. Would you like to do it? No, I want somebody to say, I'll be the speaker now. And that speaker is going to be the speaker for the group when we come back to the main room. All the ideas of the group, that speaker will be the responsible one to report to as all your answers. And please don't be afraid about the answers. If anybody makes a mistake, if any group doesn't have the right answer at the time, it's not a problem, because we learn if we make a mistake, and nobody's going to be judging anybody. All right, so please feel free. In your group, you will discuss the task. and the speaker will make a note of the answers for the feedback. And during this time, inshallah, I will come in, if I get the technology right, I will come into your group just for a few minutes to see how you are doing. We won't waste any time. Maybe I won't say anything even, maybe if I see you need help, I will help you. Okay, so this is how we're going to work today. Let's continue. Oops, and hang on, one more thing at the bottom. Whoops, sorry. A timer will appear 2 minutes, 2 minutes before time is up. So at the top of your screen here, you'll see a little clock, which will count down 2 minutes so that you can pull your discussion together and come to an end. Okay? I hope that is clear. Has anybody got a question before we continue? You can put your speaker on, you can put your audio on if anybody wants me to explain something again. Okay, I'll continue. Okay, here's our first activity. I've called it a warmer or a warm-up because, like all good lessons, a lesson should start with a warm-up, something to warm our brains up. And this is a brainstorm. Okay, this is a brainstorm activity. You see, I've put lesson planning. This is our subject today. This is your worksheet 1. Okay, can you access your worksheet 1, or can you take a photograph of the screen? Because when you go into your group, you're going to need this. Okay. Your task is to make words that come to your head about lesson planning. For example, I've taken the O of lesson and I've made a word across. Content. A lesson plan must have content, obviously. Yeah. It's like a game. I love working with games. I think learning through games is fantastic. Here's another example. Every lesson plan must contain activities, right? We can't have a lesson plan without activities. Yeah. And that is, I've taken the first letter. Here I've taken the second letter. And finally, let's see if I can move this at the bottom. I don't think that's coming very clear on the screen for some reason. There we go. I'll move this up here. I've taken the last letter here, G, and I've made the word timing. Every lesson plan, we must think about the timing. Yeah, the timing is very important. Yeah, if we don't think about the time, how can we complete everything in our lesson plan? Do you get the idea? Is anybody not clear and would like me to explain a little bit more? Please put on your audio. Don't be shy and tell me, oh, can you explain that a little more? Yes, Aisha? Is it clear for you too? Yeah, everybody clear?
Actually, pretty fun. It's pretty clear. Yeah.
It's pretty clear. Yep. Great. I like things to be clear because once we're in our in our breakout room, I want you to get ready and go. So I'm going to put you in your breakout rooms, which, hang on a second. Let's move this black bar, is annoying me. Okay, I'm going to put you in there for 10 minutes, okay? So prepare your worksheets. How many have we got? Aisha, we've got 15. So if I make 4 groups, that should be good. There we go. So we've got 4 in each group. No, everybody's coming back.
Yep, there's some here. The others massage.
All right. So now we're going to do feedback. So I hope you all had a speaker. Yeah. Oops.
They'll be here in 4 seconds.
There, yeah, just waiting. Just wait, trying to get this down. There we go. Okay. So what I'm wanting now is the speaker for each of the 4 groups. Can you identify yourselves for me? Can you put your hand up so I can see you? Who is the speaker? So that's Osama for one group. And who is the speaker? Suad. And who else is the speaker? Okay, let's start already then. Oh, everybody's coming. Hi, Isam is the speaker. Oops, interesting. Okay, so can everybody put their speakers off who isn't a speaker? And let's start with Osama. Can you give us 2 words?
Okay,
2 words. Explain.
so E, presentation.
Yes. Yes.
And P, preparation.
Fantastic, fantastic. Isam.
Yes. So for N, differentiation, and for G, progress.
Great, very creative. And Suad.
For L, team-based learning, and for the other L is tools.
Well done, excellent. Who is our 4th speaker? Could you put your hand up for me? Who is that from the 4th group? Have we lost some people?
Mom, I'm here. It's Fuzia.
Okay. Fuzia. Tell me, Fuzia.
With S, we took tasks.
Great.
And we, okay, let's be development.
Sorry, skills development?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Development.
great. Fantastic. So let's have 2 more from each of you. So Osama, quickly, 2 more.
So for L, collaboration.
Fabulous.
And for G, gamification.
Again, gamification.
Yes.
I mean, is that playing games?
Yes.
Great. I'm with you. I love games. It's a great way of learning. Okay, Suad. 2 more.
For P, Warmup, and for G, stage.
Fantastic. Isam, 2 more.
For O, observation, and for
Yeah.
S, supervision.
Fabulous. And finally, it was Fauzia, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
S, assignment for S and
Yeah.
organization for O.
Fantastic. Okay, very creative. I can see you are all extremely creative participants.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, well done. So let's move on. So just to round it up, you've got so much more in yours, okay? So you've got lots of words. Here's a few that came to mind for me, but you're obviously very creative, and that's fantastic. So let's move on to the next. So the next task is why plan lessons. Now, in my experience, and this may not be the same here in Morocco, when I first go into a program in a country, and I usually work in various Arab countries, okay, so I have quite a lot of experience of going into schools, and I say, okay, now lesson planning, and there's always like, oh, a negative reaction, because why? It takes a lot of time to do a really great lesson plan, okay? And so a lot of teachers will just do a very minimal job with this, because often at the beginning of training sessions, they don't understand the benefits, yeah? So this is just a little awareness raising activity called a mind map, and we've got 4 main categories here. These are sentence stems, the beginnings of sentences. So or bullet points. So lesson planning ensures blah, blah, blah. Lesson planning makes blah, blah, blah. Lesson planning helps to blah, blah, blah. Lesson planning acts as blah, blah, blah. Okay, so these are the beginning of statements about the benefits of lesson planning. Okay, and so you put your idea, just a word or two words in these various bubbles. You can add circles if you want. Anybody have a question on this? I think it's fairly clear, yeah? So let's break out again for 10 minutes. Okay, I'll put you in 4 groups again. Remember, the groups should be different, okay? Oops, Issam. Okay, have you all gone? Yeah. Issam. Okay. So I can see Issam is still not in a group, but he's the guy that's working with a telephone. Is that right? Aisha?
Sam is already in group 4.
Okay, but he looks like he's alone.
Really?
Well, according to my screen, he is. I'm going to move him.
So he's with Usama and Mustafa.
Okay, right. Yeah, he's okay.
Khalid, you should
Yeah,
join.
no, he's fine. He's fine. Yeah, it's good. Okay, so that's good.
Yeah, so everyone has a group. Khalid,
That's fine.
they
That's
are
fine.
connected with their.
Yeah, they're good. They're good to go. So I have to say, these are great students.
They are.
They're very
the best.
fast. They really understand. Okay, they're doing absolutely fine. I'll send them a little message. Has somebody just joined? Aisha? A new
Yes.
one? 16, right?
Yeah. He just
Great. Fantastic.
has some technical problems and he just got them fixed.
That's a good idea. Some water.
Moroccan tea though.
Yes.
I can never work without tea by my side. It's
Oh,
just-
you've got the tea and I've got some.
I'm an
tea.
addict. I'm a tea addict.
Okay, and so,
Yeah.
so let's bring them back.
They'll be here in 55 seconds.
55 seconds, good. Did you put the timer on? Did you put the timer on?
On my side or their side?
Yeah, on your side. I just wondered because I'm still figuring out
Mhm.
certain things, okay,
Let me
how to
check.
do it, but the timer is on, which is great.
Mm. Yeah, they have a timer automatically there.
Okay. Okay, so everybody's coming back. Welcome back.
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, so now we need the new speakers. Can you identify yourself for me? Who have we got as a speaker? Rami. And who else? Oh, we have Mariam. And is that Shame? How do you say your name? Shame? Shema. Shema. Lovely. And not sure yet. We'll find out later. Okay, so Rami, would you like to give us one from each section?
Okay, can you hear me?
I can.
All right. So the lesson plan ensures that the teacher sticks to all the elements of the lesson.
Mhm. Yeah.
It helps to organize the components of the lesson, and the lesson plan makes the content to the point.
Yes. Yeah.
And finally, it acts as a guideline for the teacher.
Yes.
A
Good.
guide.
So it makes the lesson plan to the point. So that's like saying it has clear goals. It has clear aims,
Yeah.
clear objectives. Fantastic. I really like that. Fantastic. So Shema, can you give me one from each?
Okay, the lesson plan ensures the smoothness of the lesson, and
Yes.
it helps to have a fruitful learning. It helps the teacher to be reflective and eclectic.
And eclectic, is that eclectic, you said?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a nice word. So choose, do you mean eclectic? What do you mean by eclectic? What did the group mean by eclectic? I know what it means, but I want to know what the group means.
The teacher can use different theories and different techniques, but still have the same goal.
Good. So variation, lots of different ideas and ways so that it's not boring. A very good point, because the worst thing is for it to be boring. Okay, and Mariam?
Yes, I am the same in the same cell of Shema. We are the same team, so we have the same.
Okay, so you're not
answers.
so you're not a speaker. Can another, sorry, I made a mistake there. So is there another, thank you. I thought I saw a little hand. So who else is a speaker? Can you identify yourself for me? Mustafa, go.
Hello. Yeah.
Hi.
So I will go for act as an inspirational source.
Yes, inspirational lesson planning. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, any more? One from the other bubbles?
Me?
Yes, yes, I need
Okay.
4.
Helps to determine the steps.
Yes, the steps are
Mind the
very
steps.
important. Logical steps, 1,
Mhm.
2, 3.
Exactly. And it makes the teaching easier.
I'm glad you said that, because one of the major concerns, teachers who say, oh, but teacher, it takes such a long time to prepare a lesson plan. I don't have time. I have all these lessons. My timetable is so full. Is my main argument is, if you do your lesson plan, if you spend some time with your lesson plan, your life is going to be so much easier, and you're going to enjoy your job so much more than when you go and you're unprepared and everything is a bit stressful. Would you agree with me?
I do, yes, strongly.
Fantastic. Okay, so who else is, I need the 4th speaker from the 4th group. Where are you? Who is it?
It's me, because
Fawzia again. Hi.
the lesson plan ensures that everybody is engaged in the learning process.
Yes.
It makes the class go smoothly and easily.
Yeah.
It helps to organize the class and save time.
Yeah.
And it acts like a guide to the teacher.
You're right. Good. So how does a lesson plan make a class everybody participate? Anybody can answer this. If you have a lesson plan, how can we make the lesson plan so that everybody participates? Any ideas on this?
Yes.
Yes, it's on.
As a teacher, we should already assess the level of our pupils.
Yep.
So we would adapt the questionnaires and the games and all of the ideas inside of the lesson plan to engage every single level that we have inside the same classroom.
Yes. Okay, every ability. So it helps with mixed ability, that every level of ability is able to do something in the class. Yeah. Is there any other aspect of how to involve everybody with your lesson plan planning that comes to mind? Mohsin, is that you? Do you want to speak? No? Any other volunteers about how a lesson plan can help you to make sure that everybody is actively participating? Okay, what about pair work and group work? I'm giving you a clue. Anybody want to tell me about that? Okay, so for example, very often we can find that the teacher is talk. And although the activity, maybe the students are busy, they're busy individually. So if you're planning your lesson, okay, now I'm going to have a pair work activity, working in pairs, either speaking or doing a writing activity or a reading activity. And now they're going to work in groups. And now they're going to work in teams. This makes sure that everybody is actively participating. Yeah, so it's an important part of our lesson plan. We will see later today how we're going to plan that. Okay, so always to think about what are the dynamics, what are the groupings of the lesson, and is it nice and varied? Because remember, the more interesting and varied the lesson plan, the less problems you're going to have with discipline, and that's something we can talk about too. Okay, all right, so that's all the groups. Yes, we finished that. It's fantastic. Let's go back now to our PowerPoint. So you've shared your ideas with me, and I'm just going to round that up a little bit by saying I think lesson planning is the most invaluable tool. I know that word tool came up in your first activity, and while it may take time to prepare, and this is absolutely true, it makes the teacher's job easier when in the classroom. And most of all, it enables teachers to be true professionals. And that's what I love to help teachers to be, when you get a really great feeling of self-esteem and joy about your job. So let's move on to more specific things now. I'm going to talk about the lesson plan format, okay? And remember, I said that the format will always be a little bit different in each school and each country, often the state schools have a lesson plan format for all the schools in the state, yeah, and private schools will have their own idea about that. So usually there's a cover page, and then there's a section for the procedures, or what I call the steps. Some people say procedure and some people say steps. So and as I say, countries and schools, they have their own idea. So here's an example. This bit here is what I call the cover page, okay? It's the bit at the top where you've got general information, okay? The name of the teacher, the level, the date, the learning targets, maybe the unit, general information here, cover page. And then the steps are everything else down here, okay? This is one particular format, okay? So you understand what I mean when I say cover page and steps. We're going to do an activity now about the cover page. This is worksheet number 3, and we're going to do a matching activity. And here we have some headings that you could put in your cover page, okay? And here are some definitions, okay? And I want you to match them with an arrow just like this. So number 1, the answer is C. So in that cover page part, you might want to make a note of the timetable fit, i.e. what comes before and what comes after the lesson, all right? So for each one, I just want you very quickly to match them. I'm going to put you into a breakout group for a time. Actually, it might be less. I don't think it will take you 10 minutes. All right, let's look at the next one. Is this number 4? Why is it important to have a description of the learners? Who would like to answer that one? Which number is it? Which letter is it? Yeah.
So 4 goes with D, description of learners. This includes age, level, nationality, strengths, weaknesses, difficult learners, and the atmosphere.
Yeah, I think I've got a typing error here. Did you say D or A? A, D, right? A. Good, we agree. I thought I heard you with D.
No,
okay,
A.
That's fine. Do you all agree? Anybody have anything different to say? Or add? Please go ahead. This is my point. The more you know about your students, the better you can understand them.
Yeah.
You can understand their behaviors, their learning modes. Yes, somebody wants to say something?
Yes, I just wanted to say that we should consider that students are with multiple intelligences, and we have taken consideration that every student is different from the other, and we should be tackle with everybody. We should not go with the lesson with the same process, with the same activities, so one will benefit from it and the other will not.
That's right. I'm glad you mentioned the multiple intelligences. Can you give us a couple of examples of multiple intelligences? How many are there? Can you give me some examples of what you mean?
Yes, ma'am. Like we have mathematical intelligence. That this kind of people are know a lot of. They can do math and stuff like that. And we have musical intelligence. That's people that they are artists. Like they can go with music. They can learn through music. And we have visual. I don't remember exactly, but
okay, that's great. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. Different people have different types of intelligence. And for example, some people are good at maths. They have a mathematical intelligence. So you can bring that into your English class when you're learning about numbers. You give some little maths things to do, some additions, some subtractions, some small mathematical problems, counting, depending on the age, obviously, of the students. And those students will love that. But the musical students, the ones with musical intelligence, they will love it when you do some learning with songs, yeah, some English songs, that type of thing. So if you understand that everybody has a different type of intelligence, then you can bring into your class variety, so that, as one of you said earlier, everybody participates. Everybody is able to participate and get some enjoyment from the learning. So that's a good point. Anybody want to add anything?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah.
So I guess when it comes to the student's background, it's a very important part.
Yeah.
That we should like always know their background, culture,
Yes.
values, and home environment, so that we can support them more and more.
Good.
And,
Yep. A point comes to mind. I think you're absolutely right. It's often important to understand if a student has come from a difficult or troubled background.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they have a divorce in the family, maybe somebody died in the family, maybe there's some social problem in the family, and this will be reflected in their behavior.
Mhm.
Maybe they're very shy, maybe sad, maybe angry. Yeah. And so if you know about some of the backgrounds of kids with problems, it helps you to deal with that kid. So I totally agree with you. Anybody want to add anything? Okay, based on that information, often if you know your learners really well, it can help you with seating plans. Some teachers, they like to have a plan, and they plan where everybody's going to sit. Difficult students, you may often want to put them at the front, for example. You may not want to put certain students together. Yeah. So this is another reason why having an understanding and description of learners can help. Anybody want to add anything? Okay, classroom management strategies. All of them. Yes. Yes, go. Yes, go.
How can we adopt the communication when we are talking about like the students' experiences?
Sorry, again, can you say that again?
How can we adopt the communication when we talk about the students' experiences?
So what, can you explain a little bit more about what you mean? How can we,
like if we want to talk about the students' backgrounds, views, and like how can we
find out?
How can we manage that?
How can you find out about this? Okay, it is a tricky one, but it's something just to be aware of. For example, if you have a child who's behaving really strangely or very aggressively or maybe very shyly, doesn't participate a lot, then maybe you could go to somebody in your school, the administration, and maybe try and find out from other teachers something about the background of this child, or maybe you could have a little chat with them and just see if you can find out, you know, something about the home background, just very informally. And you might find that, you know, the child will say something to you which indicates that there are problems at home. Either you ask the child directly and very carefully, just, you know, saying some informal little questions, or go and ask somebody in the administration who may know something about the family. Do you get my idea?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, this is being extremely professional as a teacher, because if you do find out that there is some sort of trauma in the family, then that helps you to understand that the child is not behaving in this way voluntarily, and this child needs some extra attention from you. Okay, some extra encouragement, and you might want to place them close to you at the front. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So classroom management strategies, this is what we're talking about. You know, it's dealing with individuals. It's also dealing with how you're going to seat them so that you get maximum participation. Okay. And, so we've mentioned the home issues, health issues. Here I'm talking about things like, children who might need glasses. Yeah, you need to know that. You need to notice that if a child is having difficulty seeing the blackboard, for example, then you need to put them at the front of the class. Maybe they can't afford to have glasses, who knows? Yeah, but you need in your mind to be looking very carefully at the students to pick up clues about them, yeah, in order to be able to help them achieve their best potential. Yeah. Can I move on?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. All right, materials and resources. Who would like to give me the answer here? Nobody? Silence?
Can I go?
Yes, please go.
So materials and references, it goes with B. Any course books, references, tapes, CDs, pictures, board drawings, handouts, etc.
Fantastic, good. So did your group discuss at all why this is important to include this? Could you give me an answer? Why do you think that's important to make a note of these things in your planning, in your cover?
I guess we should always know what are the tools that we need to use depending on the aim of the lessons.
Mm-hmm.
For example, are we going to use the data show or are we just going to use the course books? So depending on the aim of the lesson. And so that we can't make the class boring. We need to switch from time to time.
Yeah, I agree. Materials and resources help us make an interesting lesson. Does anybody want to add a point? Why do we need to make a note on each lesson plan, what we need, what we intend to take and use in the class? Why is this important? Anybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Go.
No, go ahead. I'll speak after.
Well, I think, as I mentioned earlier, for example, if you're teaching in a rural area and your students never saw internet, like computers, smartphones, and your class, you're going to talk about smartphones, internet, and technology. And you don't have a laptop to show that. I think you should take some pictures with you to let them show, to let them see what you're talking about. You cannot talk about something that they never observe, and you expect the lesson to be successful.
Absolutely. So I totally agree with you. I'm just going to put up, see whether, okay. So again, you need to involve posters, flashcards, Realia. Realia is a word, I don't know if you know this word, which means bringing things into the classroom that are real. So if you're talking about a smartphone, you show them a smartphone. If you're talking about a candle, you show them a candle. If you're talking about a glass, then maybe you bring in some, you bring actual objects to the class. So all of these are materials and resources, and you need to make a note of them on your lesson plan to remind you to bring them, because teachers are busy people and you might forget. So you get to your class and you go, oh, I forgot to bring that. So making a note of what you need is a really, really useful. Yeah. And again, it makes the teacher very professional. You don't waste time, helps you to meet your goal because you've brought all of those interesting things to the classroom. So many teachers can say, where is it? Oh, I forgot it. I don't know. Yeah, and they waste time either looking for it in a cupboard or they forgot to bring it. Yeah. So for me, this point is about being well prepared, remembering everything and making it relevant. And of course, sometimes you can ask your kids to bring things. Yeah. That's also part of materials and resources, and it involves the kids and motivates the kids so that makes the language really real. Anybody want to add anything?
Yes.
Yes.
we need to note these items and these equipments that we have to also make sure that they work, because sometimes we need to keep in mind that we shouldn't build the whole lesson on an equipment that we're not sure that it works.
Absolutely. I agree. So maybe your cassette or recorder doesn't work, or your CD doesn't work, or whatever it is, whatever technology you're using, you have a backup plan, a plan B. Yeah. And I think that's a very good point. So if your CD doesn't work, you need to be prepared to use your own voice to read the dialogue. Yeah. For example, is that the sort of thing you're thinking about?
Yes.
Good. So plan B is always great. Okay, great. Let's move on. Who would like to answer this one? Which one is this? This is the final one, number 6. Just call out. Yeah, go.
Can I answer?
Yes, 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 please.
Okay. So the last one, context, location, and time, goes with E.
Yeah.
Size of classroom, facilities, resources available, time of day, and lesson length.
Yeah. Okay. Why is it important to make a note of these things? Anybody would like to answer? Why is this necessary?
Ma'am?
Yes.
For example, let's go with the size of the class. If you want to make an activity that needs a lot of space and your class is small, you should look for a backup, like ask for another class, or you can use the outside class if it is bigger than what's inside.
Yeah, good. Yep. Okay. So context, location. Sometimes you might want to take them outside the classroom. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. If the class is smaller and the outside is bigger, and you want an activity that needs a lot of space,
yes,
you can take them outside.
Yeah. Or maybe ask for arrange to take them to a bigger room, ask for the administration. Yeah. And anybody want to add something?
Yes.
No, I think, yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think for the lesson length, it shouldn't be too small. So as you are going to finish the lesson and your students is going just to chit chat, and on the contrary, it shouldn't be too long. So as your students wouldn't get bored during the classroom.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I think this one overlaps quite a lot with some of the other things that we've talked about. But, thinking about where is the class going to take place, the time of the day or the time of the week, and the context in general, is just taking an overview of all the factors that are going to affect the learning of the kids. Yeah. Okay. So just a couple of more things for me to mention. Routines. All right. Some teachers, they have routines is always a good thing, I find. Kids like routines. It makes them feel very secure, and it helps with your classroom management. So some teachers, they like to have a routine about how the kids are going to enter, how they're going to exit. Yeah. It's not like, okay, everybody can leave now, and everybody like runs. There are procedures. Okay, you line up this group first, this group next. I have a really nice one that I like, and I go, all the kids wearing glasses, you can leave now. So everybody stands up with glasses, they can leave. Everybody wearing blue. Depends on whether they're wearing uniforms or not. Yeah, you can leave now. Anybody who's got short hair, you can leave now. Anybody's got long hair. Yeah, so instead of everybody rushing out at the same time, it's kind of fun, and it practices some more English, and it makes for good organization. Who is going to feedback? Can you tell me your name? Who's group 1? Who are the speakers? Yep. Who's first? Who wants to speak first about the, okay, just have a second. Stage age. So the first one was done, yeah? 1E was done for us. And the thing that I want to say about this is we should not confuse our stage aims with our activities, okay? We'll do some more practice on this. The stage aim is the part of the lesson and the activities are what is inside of that stage aim. Okay, so it's very, very important to know the difference. And for example, PPP, have you heard of this? I'm sure you have. Presentation, practice, and personalization. It's one way of staging a lesson. And are you familiar with this one?
Presentation, practice, person.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a fairly old one, but it's just an example of how we can stage. Who wants to give me the answer for interaction? Number 2. Volunteer?
Ma'am?
Yes?
Number 2, go with G.
Well done, well done. Okay. So have you any points to make about this? My point is there are many types of interaction which provide variety to the class. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Can you give me some types of interaction? Anybody? What sort of interaction are we talking about? Anybody?
There's the interaction that's going between the teacher and his students, the students between them when we're talking about when peers are working together, and there's the interaction between the students and the teacher when the students are giving feedback.
Okay, so we've got teacher talking to the whole class. We've got teacher working with, did you say pair work? Did I hear you say pair work?
Yes.
Yes, that's good, because that's one of mine too. So pair work, the students can be working in pairs, and they can also be working in small groups of 4 or 6, or whatever you want. Yeah? Anybody want to add to this? What other types of interaction can we have?
Group interaction also.
Yes, group work, absolutely. So you've got, like, in the class, 6 groups of 4, for example, or 6 groups of 6, depend. How big are our classes in Morocco? What would be in the state school? What size are classes?
Maybe 30.
30, okay, good. So there you go. So if you've got 30, you could have 6 groups of 5, for example. 5 groups of 6. Any more types of interaction? Anybody?
Sometimes when students are presenting a PPT work.
So a student could be presenting the group work, something like that? Is that what you're saying?
PPT
One? Yes?
PPT work.
PPT work. Is that presentation work? Is that what you're talking about? Presentation. So maybe there's a group work and one of the students presents the work for the group, like you are doing. Is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
And, here the student can take the role of the teacher and explain the work to his classmates.
Okay, yes, that's a type of reaction. Yep, interaction. Anybody else? Teamwork, for example. When you divide the class into teams, like team A and team B, that's often where we have a competition, yeah? And so you've got a situation where they win points. Who's going to win? Yeah, that's another type of interaction. Okay, and mingle activities. Can anybody explain to me what a mingle activity is? Do you know this word, mingle? Maybe
Yes.
not. Yes, can you tell me what it is?
It's when students are interacting with each other. It's sort of a personal get to know each other more.
Yes, it is. Does it involve movement?
It depends on the setting. I
Okay.
think if it involves movements, it wouldn't just be mingling, it'll move kind of towards role play. But mingling is more about the talking, and sometimes we'd have movements if, for example, we're trying to get students to know each other. So
That's
we
right.
move one person from a group to another, to another, to another.
Okay, so it could be, usually for me, mingle has some element of movement, whether you're moving one student from this group to that group. For me, if I say mingle, just so we're all on the same page, it's when everybody stands up and they have a job to do, a task to do. Maybe it's a question and answer, maybe it's to find some information, and they move around the classroom if there's enough space, and they find a partner and they interact, and then they move around, find another partner, they interact. Yeah, for me, that is what a mingle activity is. Okay, but for you, it could also be, if there's no room to move, it could be this student moves from this group to this group. Yeah. So there are some different types of interaction, which definitely provide variety to the class, because we don't want the teacher just doing all the talking and the students doing all the listening, which unfortunately happens in some schools where the teachers have not had great training. So that's something to mark down on one of the columns on your lesson plan. What about materials? Who would like to answer this one?
Mom?
Yes. Yep, Mariam. Mariam, yes, great. Go.
Okay, so materials is F, aids and materials, for example, course books, cut-ups, overhead projectors used in the stage.
Okay, great. Do you have anything else to add about this column?
I guess materials support the students' learning. It keeps them engaged, and I guess that's it.
Okay, so materials add variety, they're very motivating. We already noted the materials at the top on the cover page that you need for the entire lesson, but you might want to note the materials as well for each stage. It's all this is about management. This is all about being professional and well organized, okay? And being efficient and not losing time, because time is a really big issue. We'll talk about it, I think, shortly. Okay, great. Let's move on to the next one. Time. Who would like to answer this one?
Huh?
Yep.
Can I answer?
Yes, go.
So for time goes with A, give approximate timing for each stage, build in a flexible slot that can be used or dropped if time is there.
Fantastic. Would you like to add any personal observations about timing in a lesson plan?
I guess it is very important to give a timing for each stage on the lesson plan so that we won't lose track. For example, we can divide, if we have 2 hours, we can divide it into, depending on what we will teach, and give a small amount of time for each task.
Yes.
So that we can be like very organized.
Very organized, absolutely. Now you're getting the idea. So timing is very important if you want to meet your aims, your goals, your objectives. If you do not plan the timing for each stage of the lesson plan, you're going to come to the end of the lesson and suddenly, oh, but I didn't finish what I planned to do. Yes. This is a huge problem with teachers, I find, because in fact, although they put the time on the lesson plan, one of the things that happens is that teachers often are so engaged that they forget to look at their watch or their phone and see if they are on target, and to speed up or slow down or maybe you have to modify the lesson a little bit if you find that you're not getting everything in time. I was in training in Libya once, and the teacher said to me, Coralyn, why are you obsessed? You are so obsessed with time. and then I said, well, you know, it's really important for these reasons, that you will not finish your syllabus, and you will not finish whatever it is in that year that you were supposed to finish if every time you are behind, which affects the exams and all the rest of it. And then I realized, of course, that time is something cultural. In the West, people are very time obsessed, yeah? And I find that in many cultures, and I think Morocco might be one of them, where time is not so important. I don't know if, am I right or wrong?
Yes, exactly.
Exactly, I'm right. So, and personally, I prefer this way of life. You know, it's far more agreeable where we're not all rushing around looking at our watches. But when it comes to the classroom, it's something that teachers really need to be very self-disciplined about. And so this is something to note, that it's not enough just to have the time on the lesson plan. You have to make sure that you're keeping your eye on your clock. And it takes experience to get this right. But for me, it's a really, really important one. So if, and this is also related to time, if by any chance you find that you have actually finished earlier than you thought, you need to just make a note of an extra activity in case you finish early. Yeah, that is probably not going to happen most of the time, but it's good to have it anyway. Okay, so that's time. Let's move on to the next one. Who would like to do, is it 5? Yep, go.
5 goes with D.
I beg your pardon?
A breakdown of what the teachers and the learners actually do.
Yeah. Okay, I cannot hear you very well, but did you say 5C? Yes?
Yes.
Good, fantastic. You got an echo on that. Okay, thank you. Great, 5C. All right, who would like to comment on this one? Any observations on the actual steps? Some people call this methodology, perhaps. You know what you're going to do in that stage. Yeah, any comments?
Procedure, I believe the procedure facilitates the process of delivering the information or explaining the target lesson.
Okay, so the process, what you are going to do in that a particular, the actual steps. So for example, I would say what the teacher does and what the students do. That is one way of indicating how you're going to proceed with the process. So the teacher is going to read the dialogue, and teachers and students are going to listen, and then the students are going to work in pairs and practice the dialogue, for example. All right, so it's often useful to mark what the teacher does and what the students do. And remember, every lesson plan is going to be different. Every teacher will decide to do it in a different way. That's one possibility. So whatever you put in this part about the steps, you need to make it concise. You can't be writing great long texts about it. So, but you do have to have something to remind the teacher, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do now? What are the students going to do? And what am I going to do? Okay. So what about instructions? Who would like to answer this one?
Can
I? Go.
Okay. Procedure, not brief, but clear instruction, especially for complex activities.
60, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, any comments about this one?
Okay, I think that the teacher have or need to make clear to the students what they are about to do.
Yeah.
Make everything clear for them so they can know what they are going to do and what they are or what they need to do, and it may help him as a teacher so he can't get lost. So he always will have a background if he got lost.
Good. You're absolutely right. And this is another one of my obsessions is instructions, because it's related to good classroom management. When teachers first meet me, often they will say to me, oh, you know, the kids are quite naughty. The kids are naughty in my classroom. Can you help me? You know, can you help me to be a better teacher manager? And I say, okay, let me listen to you, how you give your instructions. And you will find there's a link between how clear the teacher is able to give the instructions and how well behaved the kids are. All right, because if the kids are confused and they don't understand the instructions, then this is where you're going to get kids misbehaving, talking when they shouldn't be talking, and making your life impossible. So this idea of instructions could be a whole training session by itself, because there are many things to take into consideration when giving instructions. And you know, things like, are all your instructions, when you give your instructions, are your instructions in short steps? Are they in simple language? How have you supported the instructions? Have you used visuals? Have you used body language? Have you checked with the students whether they've understood the instructions? How do you check? You ask them to give you the instruction back. Are any of the instructions going to be in Arabic, for example, or are they all going to be in English? It depends on the level of the class. It depends on the complexity of the activity. So this is a huge area, the instructions. But my point is that it is a good idea to note on your lesson plan template the basic steps of your instructions, okay? Because if you get the instructions confused, you will get confusion in the classroom. Anybody want to make a comment on this? No? Are you all great at giving instructions? Anybody had any issues related to this? Any personal experiences? Fauzia, do you want to speak? No?
I'd like to speak.
Yes, please do.
I feel like sometimes when we give instructions and you ask the students if they comprehend said instructions, they would just tend to agree because they feel either ashamed or they feel that they're going to bother the whole class. And I think the best way to counter that is make sure from this first session to make them feel in a safe space that this time is bendable for them, is to be managed by them, is that we're here to help them. And that way they would always follow instructions. If they don't understand it, they would never mind asking as many questions as they want.
That's right. So if you have a good relationship, if you've got good rapport, students feel more comfortable in saying, I don't understand. It's a little bit like you guys and me. That's why I try to make a good relationship with you as soon as I can, so that you feel comfortable to ask me things. But you're absolutely right that if you ask students, did you understand? They're all going to go yes, because they're too shy, embarrassed to put their hand up and say they didn't. So a good technique would be to say, okay, so first you're going to do, and you wait for somebody to, and they can do this in Arabic if it's relevant, or if they're a high level, they can do it in English. It depends on the level. You're going to elicit each step of the instructions back. Yeah, and that way you're going, this is particularly for complex activities or games. That way you're going to check that it's called concept checking, that your instructions have been understood. All right. So find that that is a good way to get an understanding. Have they understood, in fact? Yeah. Anybody got any extra things to say about instructions? Okay, as I say, this is an area for really a whole training session. Along with timing, it's a really big deal when it comes to lessons, I feel. So let's move on. White and blackboard planning. That is a possible thing that you might want to include in one of your columns. Who has the answer to this one? Yeah, volunteer.
Can I speak?
Yep.
I think 7 goes with H. Whiteboard plan, show how you will use the whiteboard.
Okay. Any comments about this? Do you think it's easy using the whiteboard or the blackboard? Why would we need to make a note about this?
It depends about the context. If you're about to have mind map or draw something for 9th grade English students, you maybe needs to demonstrate with it, like drawings. So we have to pay attention to that before starting the class, maybe to do that 10 minutes before that, so you don't lose time.
Absolutely. Oh, my favorite word, time. Well, you're absolutely right. So sometimes you might want to prepare something on the board beforehand. Sometimes you might want to prepare it and cover it up with a sheet of paper because you want to reveal it later in the lesson. Sometimes you want it ready for the first part of the lesson. How else might we want to think about the board? Any ideas from anybody else?
Me?
Yes.
Just it's my point of view.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer to divide the whiteboard into 3 parts.
Good.
So the middle one will be for activities, and the left one will be for vocabulary, and the right one will be for main rules or summary. It's just a way for organization. So my students will not get lost.
That's right. So this is the sort of thing we're talking about. Planning, dividing the board into sections and planning ahead where you're going to put different things so that everything remains clear for the students. So if you might want to do a little diagram on your lesson plan. So that's the point, basically. There you go. There's my points, and I think you covered all of them. Also this one, maybe when do the students use the board? They do love to come to the board, don't they? Yeah, you find that?
Yes.
They love that. Okay, let's move on. Homework. Who wants to do this one? Volunteers? I can't see all your faces, so can you just volunteer yourself, please?
Okay, me?
Yes, Susain, yeah?
H goes with B.
H?
H goes with B.
B, well done, well done. Any comments on this homework? Why would we need to make a note of that? It's really not complicated.
Concerning the homework, it should be relevant, depends on what the students, depends on the student's ability and level and what the students have learned. So it should be not too easy and not too hard. It should be challenging.
It should be, and obviously you need to have covered the work in class. You can't give them something that they haven't done in class. Yeah. So it needs to be the right level, the right thing, and the right challenge. And quite simply, why do we have to write it down is because if we don't make a note, we will probably forget because our heads are full of so many things, right? When we're a teacher, that the more that we've got it written down, the less we're going to forget, right? So I want to, yes, sorry. Yes, please.
I have a question, please.
Yes.
how can you push students to do more efforts and more research without giving them homework and somehow forcing them to do it? I want them to do it out of love for the subject and out of curiosity. I want them to develop that desire
Love of
for
learning.
knowledge.
Okay, that's another complete training session you're talking about there. You're talking about intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic as opposed to extrinsic. Intrinsic motivation is when you are motivated to do something because it's coming from inside of you, because you like something, you love something, you enjoy something, you feel good about something, and so you want to do more of that thing. Okay, I'm sure we've all got something in our lives where we have intrinsic motivation to do it. It's because we love it. Extrinsic motivation is when you're doing something because you have to do it. Somebody outside of you is making you do it. And so really what you're talking about is intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. The teacher wanting you to do it, making you do it, is extrinsic motivation for the student. I have to do this, otherwise I'll be in trouble. Intrinsic is what you want, is when the student loves English so much and enjoys it so much, is that they want to do stuff outside of class by themselves, like watch movies or read books or look on the internet. Am I right?
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. So this is all about how to develop motivation with your students. And of course, this also helps with classroom management. This helps the behavior of the class, cooperation between students. And so there are many threads to this. I can't go into all of them now because of time, but we need to think about, as one of you already commented, our rapport, our relationship with the students, okay? The things that we do that make the students feel good about themselves, yeah? The other thing is about making the activities interesting and enjoyable and fun. A lot of teachers don't associate fun with learning, but if you make your lessons fun, if you make the activities varied, if you include a variety of types of activities, you use music, you use movement, you use pair work, group work, and you have a very good relationship with your students, you make them feel comfortable, they don't feel afraid of you, but they do respect you. All of these things together are going to start to create intrinsic motivation. Does that begin to help you to understand the complexity of this?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, but it's a great thing to ask because this is what we ideally are aiming for. Okay, English isn't a subject just like every other subject. English is not like maths. English is not like geography. English is a living language, and it involves culture, and it involves so many things that you cannot just make it like another language, or like another subject. So it's a very special subject, and as we know, and I certainly know because I'm learning Darija, you have to have that intrinsic motivation to push you through to be a successful learner. Anybody who's good, and you are all very good at English, you know what I'm talking about, yeah? You got that special intrinsic motivations from somewhere, and if you think about it, you'll probably find that it was from one of your teachers or several of your teachers. Would you agree?
Yes,
is there anybody there that didn't have a great English teacher that they hated, for example? I'd be surprised. Yeah. Okay. So so can we move on? Does that answer your question enough for now? Because as I say, it is a very complex issue. We don't have time to go into it in detail, but it is something to think about for the future. Okay,
yes, thank you.
That's great. I want to look now at the importance of lesson aims. Okay, so we've said that it's really important that they're realistic, they are achievable, and that they're relevant, right, the level, etc. Okay, so this section is going to be about lesson aims. And the first activity I want to do is looking at understanding exactly, being able to voice and identify exactly what a lesson aim is. Sometimes I find teachers can be a little bit confused about that. They get confused between the lesson aim and the actual activity. So let's have a look at this here. It is an activity. So it is one of these substitution tables, which we do in pairs. Can you ride a bicycle? And the answer could be yes, I can, no, I can't. All right, so the students are working in pairs. They ask each other different questions and they answer according to their own capability, their own ability. You've all seen things like this, right? So the question is, and this is your next, no, you don't have this on a worksheet. So this is, look at this. What is the lesson aim? Is it A, it's a question and answer practice using a substitution table? B, it's to practice can for ability. C, it's to practice asking and answering questions using can, so that learners can talk about their abilities. Okay, just have a look at that and just have a think. I want you to choose one of these as an answer. Okay, just right now, we're not going to go into a group. Yes, Badwi.
It's C.
Mm-hmm. Okay, why do you think it's C?
Because we are practicing how to answer a question beginning with can, and we are focusing on the answer itself. Yes, I can, or no, I can't.
Mm-hmm. Good. I agree. Yes, I agree with you. Do you all agree with Badwi?
Yes, yes, I do.
Good, and this is why. C has the clearest idea of the lesson aim. It not only includes the language to be taught, but it also includes what the learners will do in the lesson. Okay, so what they will do. So a lesson aim is going to have the maximum amount of information in it. Okay, if we look at A, this A and B are not okay. A is not thinking of the detailed lesson aim. Instead, he or she is seeing it as a lesson in the book that has to be taught. Okay, so it's a substitution. It's just a substitution thing, right? B demonstrates the language aim to be taught in the lesson, but doesn't say how or what the learners will do. So C is actually the best answer. Okay, so let's just go back again and have a look at the three answers. Oops, okay, that's too far back. So it has to be, the answer has to be as detailed as possible, okay? So we need the language to be taught and what they will do in the activity. Has anybody got any questions on that? I think you all saw that really quickly. So let's do a little bit more practice with this. This you have on a worksheet. Okay, if you don't have your worksheet there, you can take a photograph. Now this is taken from a book, a course book for Spanish-speaking country, which is why you're going to see so in here, you've got some words that support the text, yeah? So let me read this for you. It's Monday morning. Diana and Marilyn are speaking in front of their school. Hello, Marilyn. How was your weekend? Oh, hi, Diana. It was fun. We went to the mountain on Friday and came back yesterday. Oh, really? I went to a river with my parents. It was my cousin Antonio's birthday. I made 2 new friends. I made 2 new friends too. I met a girl and her brother. They were from Apure. Okay, so what I'd like you to do in your groups now is formulate for me the clearest lesson aim that you can for this activity. Anybody got any questions before I put you into groups? Okay. Let's do it. Let's go for, let's say, 10 minutes.